In this video today, we're going to cover how do you be a high-level athlete but still be successful in other areas in your life. And there's one thing that we do that has made a major difference. So stick around and see.
We're the Friars. We help CrossFit athletes reach their potential in and outside of the gym.
Woo! Just warming up, but basically there's three principles that we're going to cover today: efficiency, strategy, and stacking. So we're going to talk a little bit about efficiency inside the gym.
So something that I've been working on lately is being more efficient in the gym. I have more programming now, and it can take almost 2 hours with my shoulder rehab and my programming for weightlifting. There's just little things that I can do that can make my time in the gym way more efficient, and then I can be done when I want to be done. Before you start your workout, plan the flow. Write it down. Even if you have your program in front of you, write down the percentages, the exact weights you're going to do, how you're going to flow through it and be ready for the next movement as you keep going through it. Number 2, put yourself on a timer. With me with weightlifting, I'll put a little bit longer time because I have to rest in between each movement. But during that time, I can see exactly on the clock how much time I have to get ready for the next lift, how much weight I'm going to put on, or the next station I'm going to be at.
Little tip in there as well is I write down what time I start the workout, because that puts a little thing in my brain that, okay, I gotta get this done, move through it.
Number 3 is transitions. Just like if you're in competition, you move from one movement to the other as smoothly as possible. So if I'm doing snatches over here and then I'm going to move on to front squats over here at the rack, I'm using my rest time in between my sets over here with the snatches to get my bar ready, get the weights on so I can move right onto that when I'm done. Stuck to your beard.
Oh. Okay. Another principle is delegation. Focus on the things that only you can do and the things that you enjoy doing. Because if you enjoy doing them, you're going to do them well. And if you do that, you go to work, you focus on those things, and then delegate the other things. It makes it so that you can get the most important things done and then have more time for other things in your life.
Delegation can also apply even as a stay-at-home mom or things that you're doing at home. Getting help from family or friends, taking the kids, trade-offs with play dates, and having time in the gym because of that, so the kids aren't coming in and out all the time. I also put the older kids to work so that they help me around the house. That way they're learning how to work and I have less chores to do so that we can fit it all in. So
I'm going to talk about this concept called one if only one. Some days I have a lot going on, and no matter what I do, I'm just not going to have time to train. And so what I'll do is focus on the one thing if it's the only one thing I get done. And for example, today is jerks. The main part of my workout is jerks. So if I didn't have enough time, the only thing I would do is focus on jerks and get a warm-up in and then get jerks done. And if I only got that done, I'd feel good about my workout that day.
As a high-level athlete, you have a lot of programming, a lot of volume, and it can take a long time. So something that we're learning is instead of being overwhelmed and be like, oh, I just don't have time to work out today for 2 hours or an hour and a half, you can get at least part of it done, and that way you have consistency over time and you're training that every day so that you can still have an upward progression and you're not just skipping that day.
So the last thing, which is the most important thing, is stacking. Now stacking is this concept where you combine two things, or you do two things together and accomplish two goals. So for example, with building our relationship, one of the things that we do together and we love doing together is fitness. So spending time with one another and training, we're able to stack those two things and get them done together. So as a high-level athlete, it's really hard to get everything done because there's just not enough time in the day. Realistically, there's not. And so stacking is an important concept because it helps you maximize your time and get a couple goals accomplished at the same time.
Another way that we're stacking time is we're stacking time with our kids and time with our side project, which is building on our property right now. So they're learning how to build and do construction. We're all spending time as a family, and it's actually good quality time while we get a lot done.
We got a lot going on today. We've already been talking about how do you get a lot done, and the perfect example is here with our side project. Now we talked about stacking. Stacking is doing two things at once, and one of the ways that we stack is we stack our side projects with our kids so we can spend time as a family. We have a massive side project. If you look out here, you can see the extent of some of the stuff that we're doing. So what we're gonna have to do is bring the water over to this pump house that we're building, where we'll filter it. Now it's a little bit bigger than the average pump house, but that's just kind of how I go. But anyways, we're filtering it, then we're sending the water back to the house. And so we need to get that done before we move in. This is a really big side project for us. We're gonna talk about how you be efficient and strategic in getting those things done. As we've talked about, one of the most important things is efficiency of movements. And so in CrossFit, it's really simple to figure out how to do that, because usually you have something like an AMRAP, as many rounds as possible, where you're doing 3 different movements and you're kind of alternating between those. We've got a little bit of efficiency of movement. We've got an AMRAP going on right now. 3 things: dirt work, framing, and bunk bed. That's my AMRAP for as many rounds as I can do today. Tearing up my lawn. A couple things I want to talk about: strategy. One thing I always keep in mind is this concept I call one if only one. And it's this idea that if I only get one thing done, what is the one thing that I would do? I love doing all this stuff. I love building. I grew up doing it. I love all this stuff. One thing I don't like doing is plumbing. What we have to do with this pipe is make a bend and make it go towards the pump house. It'll get filtered, and then we'll bring the water back and it'll make a 90 back into the house. I don't want to do that work though. I hate doing plumbing. Delegate the things that you don't enjoy doing and things that someone else can get done. I just did everything I could to get it to the point where the plumber can come in, and then I'm gonna pay someone else to do, or I'm gonna delegate the thing I don't want to do. So we're digging a trench along the house. Now there's a ton of concrete in here that we had, asphalt and concrete actually, that we had to dig out. And you can see Sarah's digging away.
It was all asphalt with a layer of concrete, and he just went at it and made a trench somehow.
I was at the hardware store and I told them what I was doing, and they're like, "Are you sure you don't want to rent a jackhammer?" And I was like, "Dude, when Chuck Norris needs a jackhammer, he rents me for the day." This is why I'm doing an AMRAP, because like 20 reps of that, I'm ready to do some framing.
You do have to rest sometimes, obviously, but he just doesn't, so let's do the next thing, right?
What can I say? CrossFit's given me a good work capacity. It's not always easy to include your kids on your side projects. It's a lot easier for them to go play video games while you're doing your side projects. They get a lot of dopamine hits from watching videos, by playing with iPads, and so you have to figure out ways. You have to keep that in mind when you're trying to engage them in doing these types of things. And it's harder sometimes to get your kids to work with you with stuff like this. How Maddox? The thing I've found for them is it works a lot better when you explain to them what they're actually building and what they're helping with in the big picture. If you can help them see the bigger picture and see how they're contributing to that bigger picture, I've noticed it makes a difference. A good example of that was my son Saxon's complaining a lot. He didn't really want to come work on a lot of these things. I framed this wall first with him and just kind of told him what to do, and he didn't quite understand it. So then with this smaller wall, I said, "Hey Saxon, we need this wall to be built to separate this pump stuff from the rest of the building. And this is a really small wall, but I want you to build it. And here's what you do to build it." So I explained how it was, I explained what the big picture was, and then I walked him through the steps, and then I walked away. And he built it perfectly. And so now every time we come in here, I'm like, "Hey dude, look at your wall. You did a really great job." And he has some sense of ownership in this side project that we're doing. If you involve your kids, help them understand what the big picture is, and then walk them through how to be engaged, they're way more likely to actually do it. We got a lot done today. We got a lot of the framing done. We got the trench dug, and then we got the bunk bed framed up. And so the way that we got it done was by doing the AMRAP, by staying efficient, and then we did the one if only one thing, and then I focused on the things that I wanted to do and that I can do. And the best part about it is we stacked all of this with spending time with our family. So not only did we get a lot done and we got our side projects going, but we spent time with the kids and had a good time doing it.